So let's give them a loud round of applause. That's amazing. And in 2020, the then Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Shri Mansukh Mandavia ji, had envisioned manufacturing of shipping containers in India to facilitate easy availability of containers for export, import trade, coastal shipping and domestic trade. Mr. Rahul Modi, member National Shipping Board, was entrusted with the task of garnering support from the Saurashtra Chamber of Commerce to set up container manufacturing facilities in the Saurashtra region. 2 years later, today, we have the first such facility in the form of APPL Containers Private Limited. The Managing Director of APPL Containers, Mr. Hasmukh Bhai Patel, is here with us. If you have any queries, you can definitely get in touch with him during the networking session, during dinner. There he is saying namaste to all of us. Namaste ji, thank you so much. All right, so we are moving on to the plenary session of the CJ Darcel Logistics Limited presents 9th edition of the Coastal Shipping and IWT Business Summit 2022, powered by Pushpak Logistics Solutions and in association with 7 Seas Global Logistics Solutions Private Limited, organized by India Sea Trade. And the plenary session is on the topic Roadmap on Sectors, both coastal and inland waterways, policies and strategies. A lot has been promised by the policy makers for the development of coastal shipping and inland waterways. While some promises were fulfilled, some others are yet to be met. The last few years have seen rapid developments in both coastal and inland water modes that has helped in sizable cargo shift from the traditional modes of transport. Now, taking this forward, government is keen on bringing in further reforms in the form of digitalization, new emission guidelines, and increasing the modal shift to water transportation. This session, ladies and gentlemen, will bring policy makers, bureaucrats, and government executives who involve in planning and execution of multimodal projects and development of coastal and inland water modes. Ladies and gentlemen, to preside the session, may I request none other than our very beloved and respected Mr. K. Mohandas, Chairman, India Sea Trade, to kindly come on stage. Sir, may I request you to kindly come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. K. Mohandas on stage to preside over the plenary session. And to analyze, deliberate on the topic, may I request the speakers to kindly come on stage. Dr. M. Beena, IAS, Chairperson, Cochin Port Authority. A medical doctor by qualification, Dr. M. Beena is an Indian Administrative Services Officer of 1999 batch from the Kerala Cadre. Dr. Beena is the first woman chairperson of Cochin Port Trust, serving since 2018. She brings with her a good blend of administrative experience and management capabilities to her role at a critical juncture for the port. She has been associated with many prestigious projects like commissioning of Petronet LNG, Phase 2 expansion of BPCL, laying of Gale pipeline, etc. She also holds the position of Chairperson, Sagarmala Multimodal Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. M. Beena IAS, welcome ma'am. Let's welcome our next speaker on stage, Mr. Arvind Chaudhary, Secretary General, Fertilizers Association of India. Mr. Arvind Chaudhary is a retired IES officer and ex-economic advisor to Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways. Also, he's the Managing Director at Indian Ports Association, presently working as DG Fertilizer Association of India. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arvind Chaudhary on stage. Welcome, sir. Moving on to our next speaker, Mr. Sanjeev Garg, Managing Director, Pipavav Rail Corporation Limited. Shri Sanjeev Garg is an experienced logistics and rail transportation professional with a demonstrated history of working in the transportation, trucking, railroad industry. Mr. Garg is a chartered member focused on logistics and transport from the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, UK, with 36 years of senior management experience in Indian Railways. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sanjeev Garg joining the panel. May I invite Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar, CEO, Kerala Maritime Board on stage. He is an Indian Revenue Service IRS officer. Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar assumed office as the full-time Chief Executive Officer of the Kerala Maritime Board. He was until recently with the Revision Authority of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Prior to that, he was with Cochin Customs, Cochin Central Excise, Service Tax, Mumbai, GST Mumbai, and Mumbai Customs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar on stage. All right, he'll be joining us soon. I guess he's on a call, so we'll wait for him. Let's move on to the next speaker. Please put your hands together to invite Lieutenant Commander B.M. Ravindranath Reddy, Deputy CEO, Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board. Lieutenant Commander Ravindranath Reddy is an ex-naval officer and marine commando with vast experience in maritime domain and maritime business activities. He is also in charge for development of coastal shipping and inland water transport for the Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board. He has also been appointed as the nodal officer of the ambitious Sagarmala program launched by the Government of India to develop the blue economy. We have on stage Lieutenant Commander B.M. Ravindranath Reddy. Welcome, sir. And we are also joined by Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar. Sir, I already gave your introductions. Welcome. Okay, let's move on to the next speaker of the plenary session, Mr. Rahul Modi, Managing Director, Pushpak Logistics Solutions. Mr. Modi is actively engaged in Indian coastal shipping services for 26 years now and has dedicated his professional life for the development of coastal shipping in India. He is part of central government as a member of the National Shipping Board and holds key positions in various national association and trade bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Rahul Modi on stage. Welcome, Shri Rahul Modi. Kindly be seated. Okay, before I hand over the floor, there is another small information I'd like to pass on. Mr. Sudhendu J. Sinha, Advisor, Infra Connectivity and Electric Mobility, Niti Aayog, was supposed to be with us here today, but unfortunately, given the Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog happening under the chairmanship of Honorable Prime Minister on the 7th of August, he is unable to make it here today, and he has informed his inability to participate in the event and expressed his regret as well. However, he is kind enough to have nominated 2 officials from Niti Aayog to be present here today and take away the recommendations being discussed in this summit. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Gautam Sharma and Mr. Suvid Kapoor from Niti Aayog. They're joining us here, and thank you so much. May I request you to kindly stand up and, give a namaste so we'll know that you're here with us. All right. Okay, so maybe we'll wait for them. So that is Mr. Gautam Sharma and Mr. Suvid Kapoor. I guess they're networking. On that note, let's wait for them, but at the same time, I would hand over the floor to none other than Mr. K. Mohandas, sir, to take over the session from here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Deepa. Friends, we had 2 very dynamic sessions, the cargo owners session and the service providers session. This will be slightly different. The format will be slightly different in the sense that while in the earlier sessions, the moderator raised questions to be answered by the panelists. This time, it will not be on that pattern. The panelists will address the audience, either sitting in the seat or at the rostrum as they feel comfortable. And we will also have an interactive session after the panelists have spoken. This session is very, very important because there will be responses to some of the issues that have been raised in the earlier sessions. These, the inputs from the earlier sessions will go back to the policy makers wherever they are, central governments or state governments or the various arms of the of the governments based on whatever has been discussed earlier and based on whatever would be discussed further during this session. So we will straight away get into business. I would invite Dr. Beena, Chairperson of the Cochin Port Authority, to address us. Beena, whichever way, yes.
Esteemed Chair Mohandas Sir, esteemed fellow panelists, esteemed delegates, it is always a pleasure to be part of India Sea Trade events because they cover the entire gamut and bring us all together. Normally we tend to work in silos and these are events where we come together. So thank you for this opportunity, Sudhir. Today's topic with regard to coastal shipping and inland water transport. A lot of issues, a lot of ground has been covered here. Various perspectives have already been established. And my job would be to at least share with you what is the thinking of the government, which I'm sure already you are aware of to a large extent, but also to highlight as to what is the way forward, where government and the industry need to work together. Now, the incentives, most of you have discussed, in fact, I was also listening in, the concession on VRC, relaxation of cabotage so as to bring extra, to ensure vessel availability, green channel for coastal shipping, priority berthing. All this, I'm sure all of you are aware. And the phenomenal change that has happened in the inland waterways sector, I just now a panel member was mentioning about it. How over the past 2-3 years, there has been a spurt in the cargo being carried. Over so many years, it was almost static. And the past 2-3 years, there has been a phenomenal increase. From 76, it has now gone to 108, if my numbers are right. Now this is possible, this has been made possible because of huge infrastructural investment in the inland waterways sector by way of development of the waterways, by provision of new berths, by provision of hinterland development, by provision of connectivity. So basically a lot of work is being carried out, but it is still a work in progress. But one point I wish to highlight is, we often, refer to this modal shift as though we are all competing with each other. It is not a competition. We also see that, railways are slashing rates on the one side, ports are slashing rates. So we don't want this to be a competition where at the end of the day, none of it is sustainable. In fact, our Honorable Prime Minister, very, very beautifully puts it, in the days to come, each type of infrastructure will need to support and complement each other. I think what we really need to focus on is this converging of the various modes of transport. In fact, that is the very essence of the Gati Shakti program. Now, when we talk of improvement of coastal shipping, one issue which often comes to us is the multiple handling issue. If, let us say, wheat from Punjab needs to come to Kerala, from Punjab it gets into maybe a lorry, maybe a container, then it goes to Kandla. There is a handling there. There was a handling at the production station, then a handling at cargo at Kandla. Then again by coastal shipping it comes to Kerala. Again there is a changeover. So many of these changeovers with the kind of labor issues we have becomes very painful. So an important point, an important issue that needs to be addressed is how this multiple handling issue can be sorted out. I must say I'm thrilled to see the container manufacturing video we just now saw. Because one of the fundamental issues with Indian cargo is that Indian cargo in general is not containerized in comparison to many other countries. Now, if we can ensure that the containerization of cargo itself improves, the intermodal shift becomes much more easier. And I have also been part of a committee which has given a report to the government for policy changes, for incentives for container manufacturing in India that is being considered, and hopefully we will have many more companies which will be initiating on container manufacturing. So one issue I said is the necessity for this multiple handling issue. Secondly is the infrastructure maintenance itself. Now we all know that dredging, the creation of infrastructure, maintenance of infrastructure is extremely expensive. Now, is it feasible? For example, a typical example I can say of is in Kerala. Now, we have a lot of minor ports. Now, if we were to try to develop each and every minor port, try to provide depths in all the minor ports, and create connectivity to all these minor ports, it might not really work. So, what is required is to do a cost-benefit analysis and ensure that there is a certain minimum cargo. It becomes cost-effective, cost-beneficial in the long run. So that is also one area where we need to further discuss on. And minor port infrastructure issues. In fact, we had a short sea service, as was just now mentioned, which traveled from Cochin to Baipur and to Arikal. And very often we are set with these issues at the minor ports, the rates they charge, the depth they provide, the infrastructure they provide. So these issues, so basically I am happy to see that there are 2 state maritime board representatives on stage here, because inland water transport and coastal shipping, for these 2 sectors to actually take off in India, there has to be very close collaboration between the Government of India and the state maritime boards, without which we cannot move forward. And the requirement of port-led industrialization is another area. Now, if we can bring the manufacturing area closer to the port economic zones, the exclusive economic zones in and around the port. So that is another area which SDCL is looking to further upon. So this is, if we can do that, at least one level of handling, we can avoid to some extent. So these are some of the areas where we need to further discuss about. A lot has already been done, a lot of incentivization, a lot of infrastructure has been created, coastal berths have been created, and a lot of ports. Now coastal warehouses are also being discussed, coastal CFSs are being discussed. So to ensure that all this falls into one designed, integrated program, we need the multiple stakeholders to come together and address these issues together. I am sure that today's discussions will pave for such an integrated approach. I will stop my words here and we can discuss later on the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Beena. Our next speaker is Mr. Arvind Chaudhary, Secretary General of Fertilizers Association of India.
Respected Secretary Mohandas sir, Meena madam, other dignitaries are sitting on the chair, dais, and all member participants. I listened very carefully. The 2 sessions are going on and a lot of issues are discussed. Firstly, I want to brief about my personal introductions. I'm working last 6 years in the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways as a director, as an economic advisor, and recently retired from 31st May, and we have appointed as a DG Fertilizer Association of India. We are awaiting the NOC as a government rule. NOC has been cleared by the Honorable 3 Ministers, and most probably next week we have joined. But as per the direction of the upper side, I am regularly attending the office last 2 months and not doing any official signature on the files, but taking all cares of the what is the drawback of the fertilizer industries. So firstly, the port sector is a very important sector. I am served there last 6 years. In my view, if you are evaluating the GDP of the country, if you saw the growth of the traffic of the country, what is the EXIM growth in your country, export, import? It is the main growth of the country, main GDP of the country. Last year, we have a major port handled 720 million metric ton cargo, non-major 800 million, non-major 500, near about 60 million metric ton cargo they are handling. This is a total trade of the country depend upon the sea. We have not a road from the other countries, limited except Nepal. Roads are, and Bangladesh roads are not going to the via Pakistan, so totally closed, trade was totally closed. So total 100% trade were going through the sea. Sea is a very important. 7,500 kilometer we have a coastal line. In the world we have a 15 number. We have a population 1.4 billion population. Also, the huge market is available in the country. But if we evaluate the developed country, we have very backside. We have not evaluating properly how to we reach there. So some important points like turnaround time. The improvement last 7-8 years, lot of improvements have been done. At present, major port capacity is the 1,560 million metric ton available capacity, and non-major port 801 million metric ton capacity is available. Previously, 12 major ports are function, but at present 11. Kamaraja port has merged with the Chennai port, and 205 non-major port function in the country, in which near 65 non-major port are handling the EXIM cargo. Rest of the ideal fishing jetty or tourist ferry jetties, they are functioning. A large number of the gap is available for the improvement of the coastal and inland waterways. The coastal activities last 7-8 years, the Ministry of Government of India taken a lot of care. In 2016, cabotage relaxation order issued, 40%, already discussed the 40% VRC, CRC charges rebate already available for the country. And also these charges are extended to the Chahbar port. Chahbar port has been developed by the Iran, equipped by the Government of India. And also those vessels going to the Chahbar are coming from the Chahbar, the Kandla and JNPT providing 40% VRC, CRC rebate also extended to the Chahbar port, also treated as a coastal. But reason behind the last year we have handled coastal cargo 280 million metric ton. Lot of scope is available. We have a huge hinterland, huge inland waterway. Inland waterways only handle 107 million metric ton. Some previous session, I'm missing the name. He says that I started vessel from Varanasi to Haldia regularly. It is a very clapping position that there's a challenge is the inland waterways is a very huge challenge with the road. I'm belonging from the UP. And near about 1,000 trucks are moving from Narayanganj to northeast, West Bengal, Bangladesh. the stone chips and muram are going from the northeast and Bangladesh and West Bengal. So huge potential cargo is available. 2018, Honorable Minister started the terminal at Varanasi. Unfortunately, the sister concerns supporting infrastructure not developed properly. The ideal terminal has stand there. Recently, IWT leased out the terminal Sahibganj, Haldia, Varanasi to private player to operate the major. They have says ki discuss the dredging part. Dredging part is very important. In those rivers are coming from the Nepal, UP side, Bihar side. That is a major problem. The siltation is very high. The example of the Farakka Dam, Farakka Lock Gate is an example. Total course is changed. So regular dredging is started. We are in inland water very initial state. 13 waterways are functional in the country presently. The MMLP, some places IWI are construction, and these activities in the land side take ownership taken by the presently RTH, and they are developing MLP in the country. They are preparing DPR, and I think recently 2 or 3 years they will be construct completely. But this is a gap. They are on the process ki we will complete the MLP, so improve the coastal. The coastal part is the very important part. How to improve, how to move the cargo from road to the inland waterways or coastal system. Madam rightly says the cargo is coming from Kandla to wheat cargo from Punjab to coming from to Kandla, Kandla from to Cochin and Tamil Nadu. Those are going. The fact that the food grains, fertilizer, and other major consumption item are moved from the road to the coastal is a very important to how to improve the infrastructure. And we are previously discussed the Sagarmala project. Sagarmala already identified the 800 project for the development of the coastal activities, in which near about 110 projects for rail and road connectivity identified. Some are under progress, final stage, some are completed. But problem is there that the different agencies are involved with the project, how to complete this project. This is Ministry of Port Shipping coordinating to the regularly with the other ministries also. In the November, Honorable PM inaugurated Gati Shakti program. The main aim of the Gati Shakti program, how to reduce the logistic cost. In the first session, one speaker says that logistic cost is very high in the country. Very rightly says. Our logistic cost is very high. How to reduce the logistic cost is a very important. This is a coastal movement, one of the best idea to reduce the cost. Secondly, we saw the APPL. Hands up the Hasmukh Patel ji. These problems arise during the COVID time. The container are stuck in the CFS. And we are listening in the ministry that ports are, the container are stuck in the port. We are, that time, Honorable Minister, sir, taken a lot of pains, and the task force has constituted under the chairmanship of the Cabinet Secretary, and hands up to Patel ji, you have started this unit. This is a game changing in the container line, coastal line also. It's a very game changing, and really you give a new era to the Indian exporter also. Thirdly, I want to say that last 2 months I am sitting in the fertilizer. Fertilizer is the very important sector of the country. Without the fertilizer, we can't achieve the secured food grains for our country. During the COVID time, every industries are production go down. Only agriculture sector is the production is as per the growth, and it is happened only due to the fertilizer reach out to the all farmer in the time. Without the fertilizer, the fertilizer sector is a very important sector. Single raw material is not available in the country. All raw material coming from the outside. Near about last year, 64 million metric ton fertilizer used by the country. Production, I think, more high, but this is a very subsidized item. The subsidy given by the Ministry of Fertilizer to the manufacturer and subsidized rate given to the farmers. The fertilizer is required to the Kanyakumari to Kashmir, Kandla to Arunachal Pradesh. Everywhere is the fertilizer is required. But I saw the data. Only 1% moved by the coastal, 19% moved by the road, and 80% moved by the rail. The easiest system developed by the previous 50 years before the fertilizer moved by the VCN wagons and the railway siding, all infrastructure developed by the railway, they are doing very well. At present, the Ministry of providing subsidy along with the transport subsidy also. The 33 are urea unit, 20 are DABP and NPK units, and near about 100 SSP units. Both are using the railway transportation system and not move to the inland waterways and coastal system to send the cargo from the coastal or inland waterways. So 1% only. So this is a drawback in this line. The transportation subsidy provided by the government of India. So they did not want to move there. Recently, ministry is focusing about the movement from the fertilizer will be start by the containerized cargo, or bulk, or the baggage. The containerized cargo come out from the factory. It will be used multimodal transportation system. The containers will go to road, rail, and inland or coastal shipping. So the challenge are not accepted by the factory owners. They are using how can we the fertilizer will back by the field area. But we have given a proposal that the bagging plant will be established in the PPP mode by the local peoples, and you send I think this will be problem will be solved if the container will be manufactured in the India. You just like see the cements are going by the capsules, and the bagging plant is sides area, and they are bagging the cement. This type of the system we are want to establish in the fertilizer sector also. So in the future, our target will be we move the fertilizer through the coastal or inland waterways, and also reduce the transportation subsidy. The multiple handling has been done in the railway system. One time loading by truck, then reloaded in the VCN wagon loaded again in the truck. This type of multiple handling charges they are claiming by the government, and rate will be high-end logistic cost already increasing. So we are given a target this year that 40% the fertilizer will be moved by the container. If the container started, the inland waterways and coastal will be improved. So I think in the future we will work jointly with the Fertilizer Association of India and coastal shipping lines. They work jointly with the factories and how to we move the cargo from railway to coastal. This is a very important side, and we will promise there that we will support to all coastal line in the future through Fertilizer Association of India. One thing also important that we are organizing, Fertilizer Association of India organizing Mahakumbh every year. Last 2 years due to COVID, it is not organized. We are organizing this time 7, 8, 9 December in Delhi. Most probably JW Marriott we are finalizing, and 3 days program we will organize all over world. Raw material supplier, equipment supplier, manufacturer are all attending the workshop. 3-day big, near about 1,000 participants are every year participating this program. Last 2 years due to COVID, this program was not organized by the FAI. This year we are planning to 7, 8, 9 December. And one of the subject also we have chooses coastal, how to improve coastal shipping and inland waterways in fertilizer sector. This is one of the topic we have chooses already, and we will inform to you, request to you also all people, you see the website, Fertilizer Association of India, FAI website, you write down on Google, we found the detail, after 2-3 days you found the details on the website. One last request, work is the last 1 year as a MD IPA also. We are developing National Logistic Portal Marine. This is an online portal. So the online portal discussions already happened during the last 2 sessions. So this is a very important. All user will come on board, and end-to-end facility will be available on the board. The search engine in the future, DPIIT developing the ULIP, and ULIP is a search engine. You want to use road portal will be available there. You want to marine portal will be available there. Coastal, you want to coastal portal will be available there. You want to inland waterways portal will be available there. Air portal, rail portal, all are combined with the ULIP portal. And request to the all, you contact to IPA and registered in the NLP Marine, and the user will be benefited by your services. This is a very important information. Request to all of you, take care for these aspects also. This is a very important information I am sharing there, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Arvind Chaudhary. You have brought a lot of positive news for the coastal shipping activity. Very good. We look forward to seeing things happen on ground or in the sea. The next speaker is Mr. Sanjeev Garg, Managing Director of the Pipavav Rail Corporation.
Sir, एक information मैं missing किया हूँ. Sorry. Ministry has already passed the inland vessel bill. The problem is the state territories, your vessel will be passing from the other state. That's a lot of problem you are facing. The bill has been, inland vessel bill 2021 has been passed, and rules are, at that time, I leave the ministry, that time in a final position, rules are finalized, vetted by the law ministry. I think ministry has been published the rule.
Rules are followed. Except one. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you.
This is very important for the inland operators.
Thank you.
Good evening. Firstly, I'd like to thank Mr. Mohandas, moderator of the session, for inviting me to speak in the session. My fellow panelist colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all delegates in the conference, it's indeed a pleasure to be here in Kochi today to speak amongst you all. Well, I am, as I have already been introduced, I am basically a railwayman who worked for 36 years on the Indian Railways and superannuated as additional member in the Railway Board. So, for 36 years, we were, you can say, born and brought up with rail logistics from the first day. Although at the time when I joined, we didn't know the word logistics. The word logistics, I think, has become more popular in the last 20-25 years. That time nobody talked of logistics, rail logistics or road logistics, things like that, when I joined service. But nevertheless, we were doing something to that effect. I also happen to be associated with the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport for the last 20 years. I've been its vice chairman, currently its secretary general, which is an international organization based in the UK. So therefore, I have been associated with logistics for the last almost 4 decades, and currently I'm working as the managing director of Pipavav Railway Corporation. As you might be aware, Pipavav Port is located in South Gujarat and is managed by AP Moller Terminals based in The Hague, Holland. AP Moller Terminals are managing 75 ports all across the world, one of them being Pipavav Port. And APMT themselves are a subsidiary of Maersk Line, which is again an international shipping company based in Copenhagen in Denmark, and which of course is one of the biggest shipping lines in the world. So Pipavav Port that way is having a lineage from Denmark and Holland, and my company, that is Pipavav Railway Corporation, provides the rail logistic services for the port by providing rail connectivity through a 270-kilometer long railway line, which was earlier a meter gauge line from the British days and was converted to broad gauge for providing rail connectivity to the port. In fact, any port, if it has to survive in the long run, it must have, although I'm a railway man, so you might feel that I'm speaking in favor of railways, but all the major ports or all important ports cannot survive without rail connectivity. And this is, I'm mentioning this because I'm going to come to this point subsequently. But as far as the topic being regarding coastal and inland waters, shipping is concerned, a lot of points have already been made. I'll just quickly recap. Some of them may be at the risk of repetition, but I'll quickly reel it out. It is cost effective, it is cost efficient as compared to at least road transport and even maybe rail transport, depending on many other factors. It can be a speedy mode of transport, as one of the speakers mentioned, and may be less prone to theft and damages as compared to perhaps road transport. And it has gained fairly huge interest among the Indian coastal forwarders and shippers for the last 15 years or so. And with government support under the Sagarmala project, volumes have indeed grown hugely, much more than expected. And we had a speaker who had a lot of problems with the customs department, perhaps very rightly so. So therefore, coastal shipping doesn't have any hassles with the ports and customs department. So it makes things to that extent much easier. And with reduced transit periods, cargo being delivered faster, leading to better turnaround of ships, resulting in higher volumes and revenues for line operators, terminals, and the coastal trade. Certainly, coastal shipping has its own advantages. It obviously leads to better cash flows, too, with higher volumes of traffic. We have a long coastline, already has been mentioned. And in subsequent to, say, 2015 onwards, there was indeed a more than 11% growth in the cargo movement on coastal routes. The potential is obviously much more. And of course, as far as the commodities are concerned, which are in Indian context favorable for coastal transport, whether it's containers, project cargoes, ro-ro cargoes, which means cars, trucks, semi-trailer and semi-trailer trucks, trailers, etc. Dry bulk cargoes consisting of steel, coal, salts and stone, scrap and minerals, and of course liquid bulk cargoes like oil products, basically petroleum products. Now, three main terminals relating to coastal in Gujarat area are obviously Kandla, Pipavav and Mundra, and they've been doing fairly well. But of course, Mundra is supposed to have been the first port to start coastal when KICT, that is the Kandla International Container Terminal, didn't exist. And the three of them have been contributing their lot to development of coastal cargoes from the western side. One point that has been very rightly mentioned, that the peninsular shape of the country makes things slightly difficult for coastal shipping because you have to go via Colombo if you have to go from east to west or west to east, and that increases the cost. But I would like to submit for the benefit of this house that while obviously coastal shipping has its own advantages, we could and we should think of linking at least some of the ports with shorter rail routes so that railways can provide you certain connectivity for certain ports so that you don't have to go via Colombo, you go inland. That is something that I'm putting before you for examination and subsequent thought. Incidentally, as far as the railways are concerned, there's a point that most of the coastal ports have poor railroad connectivity. And coastal shipping can survive only if you have, because coastal shipping has the same problems as rail logistics, because railways also we have suffered and the trauma of providing end-to-end logistics, particularly the first and last mile logistics. The same problem exists with coastal shipping. So therefore, until and unless you don't look after the first and last mile logistics for coastal shipping, you will continue to face the kind of problems we are facing today. And one of the things that I can suggest obviously is that all coastal ports, which we obviously, as very rightly pointed out by one of the speakers, that you've got more than 150 major minor ports. You can't sink your money in all of them for upgrading their infrastructure because we don't have those kind of resources. So we therefore need to identify and prioritize some of those ports which we need to upgrade and are required for providing seamless coastal shipping facilities, and then provide them with proper road and rail connectivity as may be required, so that your first and last mile connectivity issues are also simultaneously taken care of. So that is a point I wish to lay before the august delegates here, that we need to definitely take that into account. Another point which I wish to mention is that a port can thrive only if it has some industrial clusters around it, whether it's an SEZ or some free trade zone or some industrial clusters. If you look at the history of the old Indian ports, whether it was Kolkata port, Chennai, Mumbai, Vasco da Gama or Cochin, in good old 300-400 years ago when these ports developed, they did also have cluster of some industrial activity going around them. After all, Calcutta had a huge base of industrial activity. Why? Because not only was it the capital of British India, which of course helped it, but because it was a port town. Same thing was with Chennai, same thing Mumbai. But I can give you two examples only. You go to Paradip, because I have been posted there, I have visited Paradip at least 20-30 times, except for 2 or 3 public sector units. One is Indian Oil, which has set up. There's one fertilizer plant of one of the fertilizer companies, all government, but no other private sector industrial unit you will find there. In fact, when you land in Paradip, you will find you are in the middle of nowhere, and except for the port and those 2-3 public sector units, there is virtually nothing. There's no market also worth the name. You go to Pipavav port, except for the port and one container CFS kind of thing, there's nothing there. Again, same problem. I've been to Pipavav at least 15 times, and what to talk of industrial activity, if you want to go to a good restaurant to have food, there's nothing there. So you remain confined to the port guest house. So what I'm saying is that a port should not seek to survive by its own. It has to be a kind of a living being which is having interaction with some kind of industrial or economic activity going around it, which will automatically help in generating traffic coming to and from the port. So this is a point again I am laying before members, so that we need to keep this in mind if we want to our own ports to develop and coastal and shipping kind of activities to develop. In fact, same problem is with our inland waterways. One of our biggest problems is obviously that, especially in the north, that is Ganges, Brahmaputra, etc., the problem of silting. One of the members pointed out that despite whatever draft was mentioned, there were hiccups en route because silting is very frequent, very rapid, and that is directly related to our neglect of environmental concerns in the Himalayas. So a large amount of silt is coming down and creating problems in these excellent waterways which exist otherwise and were flourishing some 100 years ago. So therefore, it's a catch-22 situation. If we want good inland waterways, we need to take care of the environment also, so that the silt coming down, the volumes get reduced. Otherwise, we will keep struggling with the kind of problems Mr. Prabhakar, I think he mentioned. So, on the other hand, as very rightly pointed out, whether it's inland waterways or whether it's coastal shipping, they are energy efficient, they are environment friendly, everything is good about them. But there are certain issues which need to be tackled to make them viable. And this is where I think some of the other countries in Europe or it's China or Japan, they have overcome these kind of problems and made coastal shipping or inland waterways extremely viable and thriving. And lastly, I'd like to mention that we also need to think of coastal shipping and inland waterways as one unit, in the sense that there is need for not only the two to develop well, but the need to make them interconnected, so that you can have a cargo going partly coastal and partly inland through the inland waterways. That may be the next step. But nevertheless, I think there is no way but we have to move forward on this. And well, I presume, and the government is obviously trying to do its best, but it is a joint effort from the industry and government which can bring the desired results. So without taking more time, because there are many other speakers, in case there is something which I can contribute through questions, I'll be very happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev Garg. I now invite Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar, Chief Executive Officer of the Kerala Maritime Board, to address us.
Respected Mohandas sir, Bina ma'am, my dear friend Rahul Modi and other panelists, dear friends, basically I was listening all the deliberations, all the speeches, all the questions and the answers, the wonderful answers came from the audience. Though I was in the last session, plenary session, I came on time at 2 o'clock to listen basically. And listening continuously may not be a good thing. I know that. So I won't be taking much of your time. I want to, pick up certain things which have already been dealt with here. Before that, Kerala Maritime Board, it is still in its infancy stage, as you all know. The Gujarat Maritime Board was established in the year 1982. Maharashtra established in 96. Myself and the minister visited Maharashtra last month. And we could understand and assimilate the development that has been taken place in Maharashtra because of the, early steps. Means in the sense, they have started very early. So Kerala Maritime Board Act came in 2017, then it started in functioning in 18, and there are still problems with the Maritime Board because, the government in Kerala government setup, it is very difficult to overcome all these procedural things and to get things into moving. However, we have got a very dynamic leadership in the form of the Chief Minister, the Port Minister, the Principal Secretary, and I've got a very active chairman also now, who was the chairman of KSCB, retired as a Principal Accountant General, like that. So now we are slowly moving up in the right directions with the support of Madam like Bina Madam like leaders. So this is what I have to say about the KMB. And we were discussing about the coastal shipping, the problems, the multi-handling charges, the lower draft of the minor ports, then so many other things. But only one thing, we can address these things only with only one thing, as the gentleman from Karanjia Port was suggesting, that the Marco Polo model or Indonesia model, where the coastal shipping can sustain only with the incentive. And in India, I think Kerala Maritime Board is the only organization which have announced the maritime incentive. And he was telling that somewhere in Kandla it was published in the website, and in the next moment it was withdrawn. But in Kerala, we are ready. To the last operator, we have given around 2.5 crores. But for some reasons, they have taken the service from Kerala. So we are looking forward. I am very hopeful from all of you that the short sea service or coastal shipping services should resume in Kerala coast immediately. It will be a necessity, I know, because once the Vizhinjam comes, the entire topography and geography, that will be revisited and redrafted. Vizhinjam will change the entire shipping operations in India. So the prominence of the coastal shipping will also will increase. Because our railway competitor has not been given connection, has been connected, not been connected to Vizhinjam so far. But the things are in the moving, and they will definitely connect to Vizhinjam, and they will take containers from there. Of course, I do admit. But till such time, if we establish a good coastal route from Vizhinjam, it is going to be a good, golden days for the coastal shipping as far as India is concerned. And of course, the PM Gati Shakti Yojana, Sagarmala project and all, it is now the government is giving more concentration. I think in Kerala, Madam is given the charge of coordinating all these activities, and we are having very frequent meetings to how today, while I am here, my PWD secretary has already holding a meeting regarding the Sagarmala road connectivity projects. So that is the thrust that the central government now giving to improve the facilities in the minor ports or non-major ports or with the ports in a whole. So in Kerala, the coastal shipping area, we have already conducted one PRISM, one investor meet, and after this meeting, I really feel, that I should have a meeting with you all, prospective investors for starting coastal lines, coastal shipping services, which I have already discussed with the chairman, but we will come back for sure later. So I'm going to conclude, and I will definitely contribute in the question and answer session. Two things I want to touch upon, because I am basically a customs man, and in the morning session there was a mention about the customs, and that gentleman was making very. It really felt very bad for me, because now things have been very well improved. Now even a WhatsApp message that is now we are sending to someone, it can be tracked. So now in the entire thing in customs is EDI. So whatever in the faceless this thing someone was suggesting, that it is getting returned, or repeated queries are being generated and all. So everything can be questioned later. Why you have sent? Now what I understand is they put a dot and send it back in the EDI. I know that. Though I have not worked in faceless, I am getting feedback from my colleagues. So that everything is tracked. So tomorrow you can question why that dot was put and why it was sent back. And Sanjeev, sorry, after taking your name or number, they are calling you and all. It can be, there are now well-defined. I remember when I was working in Navasheva, one officer was caught, red-handed, because somebody was, he kept his mobile video this thing on, and he was giving bribe to the officer, and immediately next day he was suspended. So today technology is, very, you make use of it, and you can give complaints also. If somebody is troubling you like anything, there are, in the CBIC website, there are dedicated portals in the website itself. You go to the Citizens Corner or Trade Facilitation thing, you can, many forums are there, including CP grams. You can raise your complaints of delay because now the government wants to clear a sea cargo in 48 hours and air cargo in 24 hours. So if there is a delay, every year there is a time, time survey is there. Time release study, TRS it is called. Every year it is being conducted, and the chief commissioner who is holding the commissariat or area region where more delay is there, he will be removed immediately. So, and now the board, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs is very much, they are sparing no one. It is, to corruption, it is zero tolerance. So, I urge upon all of you to use the facilities in the CBAC portal and, to reduce the delay things. And second thing I want to touch upon, I want to take the term coined by Mr. Praveen Joseph, DP World, the conscious effort. Because in the morning, one gentleman was, telling that, it takes 30 days to reach to the, takes 30 days for the coastal ship, whereas the other mode, it is only 5 to 8, 10 days. We all are in comfort zones. We don't want to, come out of our comfort zones and do better things. See, all over the country, the logistics cost with respect to the GDP is 7 to 8%. And in India, it is 13 to 14%. And, it is affecting every one of you, each one of us, because the cost is on you. And still, we don't want to use the other modes of, this thing. Coastal shipping is the cheapest mode. But we are not ready to do the conscious efforts. Thanks to Mr. Praveen for that word. Because that is the thing, it is the need of the hour. That if we want to develop, we want to improve, we have to do something consciously. With these words, I conclude. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Salim Kumar. Our next speaker is Sri B.M. Ravindranath Reddy, Deputy CEO of Andhra Pradesh Maritime Board.
Respected dignitaries on the stage and colleagues from the maritime world, experts, enthusiasts, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to you, all of you. And as I see, I'm the penultimate speaker in a long session since 2 o'clock. The problems are twofold. One is that all that has to be told has been told. All that has to be asked has been asked. Now I'm left with repackaging what has been told again, which I don't want to do it. I will just stick to ideas which I wanted to bounce with you, and I will finish my speech. Number one. The second thing is, because it's already about 7:30, most of the audience will be looking at me as a villain between them and a sumptuous dinner. So I will, again, keep my speech very short. Now, coastal shipping is profitable in the sense, it is cheap. It is cheaper than rest of the modes of the transport. It's more economical, is a given. So I don't need to go there. Now, if it is so good, why aren't we doing it as much as we are supposed to do? So the question is, we identify the bottlenecks. The logical course of action would be that we identify the bottlenecks one by one, and then whoever is the agency, either the government or the trade or the customer, who is responsible for rectifying that or opening up the bottleneck, they should take the logical action, and that's how we move forward. So I've just listed out a few challenges. Again, they have been spoken about, but I'll just reiterate in a quick succession. The challenges, of course, are mainly start with the infrastructure. It has been spoken around. So if there is a dedicated coastal infrastructure for coastal shipping, which is devoid of the regular regulatory bottlenecks of a major port, then it's easier for the coastal ship operators and the trade also to take part and make the best of it. That's one thing. Then one idea which has not been discussed that much is that to improve the coastal shipping and increase the efficacy of coastal shipping, we also need to look at the equipment, that is the vessels, which are best suited for coastal shipping, which, as one of the speaker was mentioning, which if they can actually move from sea to inland and inland back into sea, the river sea vessels, there has to be some kind of a research or more activity on the design factor where these can be used so that we cut down on multiple handling and therefore cut down the cost. That's one idea I would like to put across, and we can discuss it in various other forums subsequently. Then the other challenge is about the policy and regulations. That also has been discussed, especially the famous gentleman who has been talking about the customs. And he has identified the elephant in the room, no doubt about it. But as Mr. Salim Kumar had explained, there are two sides to a coin. I mean, everything is, from one side it looks one way and the other side it looks the other way. So we have to take both of them into consideration. However, it is a request to all government agencies, regulatory agencies in coastal shipping, whoever are there on the stage or in the audience. It's a request that this is something which is important to the country, and therefore let's change the paradigm of the previous generations. Let's move on to something faster, better, so that we move forward at a much faster pace in this coastal shipping and inland waterways. Then I come to innovations. Innovations in equipment, like I mentioned, innovations in, say, policy also, and innovations in some kind of a methodology where we give support to the trade for coastal shipping. You see, for a process to be a successful process, it's not just the infrastructure or the equipment that is said. There has to be demand for it. Demand for the service of coastal shipping. Now, there is a problem here, two-pronged problem. One is, like a lot of people have spoken, the coastal cargo, most of like our industries are not nearby the coast, therefore they produce, and after that they have to be transported by road or rail, and then get onto one handling at the port, then get onto a coastal shipper, goes down the coast, goes to again, multiple handlings. So instead of that, we would like some kind of a innovatory this thing where in the morning I had asked a question where I asked a lady from the Reliance if they were facing any problems with small ticket cargoes, which are not container cargoes, small ticket. Now, if there is a customer who has only, say, about half a container worth of cargo, what does he do? He can't book a full container, etc. I mean, these are the major problems. So these are the people who will be these are the people who are actually present in our country who want to transport goods from one part of the country to the other part of the country. Now, how do we solve this problem? Is there a solution? This is a question I'm asking the audience. If anybody is into the container manufacture, like the gentleman who is into manufacturing the containers, is there a possibility to manufacture sub-20-foot containers, which can either fit into the 20-foot container or which can be conjoined to make a 20-foot container? Just an idea. That way, what happens is that you can address the problem of customers who want to use containerization, but they don't have a full container cargo. That's one thing. Secondly, I'm from Andhra Pradesh. I represent the Maritime Board of Andhra Pradesh. Coming to the inland waterways, we have National Waterway number 4. That is nothing but a big, long canal, which used to be used by the British long back, where they used to sail on small boats to collect taxes. That's where I believe the name collector has come. The collector of the district used to go up and down the canal to collect the taxes. That time it were given in the form of grain. That is the Buckingham Canal, the famous Buckingham Canal, which is National Waterway number 4. But it's a very narrow canal, silted, vertically encroached upon. There are a lot of bridges on it, unofficial. Therefore, there is not much of height. Air draft is not there, neither normal draft is there, and they are very narrow also. So what happens is that in that waterway, we can only operate small crafts, very small, wherever we can. There are crafts which are operating. Now, these small crafts can't carry a container or big loads. So if there is a possibility for bringing down the container size, which can be handled through this kind of a crafts, I think there is a scope for adding in more cargo to the inland waterways and from there on to ports. That's one idea. Then, like I said, I will be brief. I would like to tell you about the initiatives of the AP Maritime Board in this direction. AP Maritime Board, as you know, the state of AP, already used to operate 4 deep water ports, including Visakhapatnam Port Authority. Now we are building 4 more deep water ports. We don't call them major ports because we are building it. The Maritime Board is building. 3 are being built by the government and 1 in the private sector. All of them have a depth in excess of 16 meters. 16 is the least. It is going up to 18 to 20 in one of the ports. And all of them are going to have attached port proximal area, which a lot of people have been speaking about port-led development. So port-led development is an important area we are looking at, and therefore to look for development of cargo for the ports. So what I would like to tell you for all entrepreneurs who are here, who are into investments into the port-led development, the port proximal area, the logistics operators, the industry, you are most welcome. You can come to Andhra Pradesh, you can contact me, I am the head of the business development. So that's one area where Andhra Pradesh is having the facility to welcome you. Then we are also trying, we're just about to embark upon a mission to start aggregating cargo towards our ports. Like there was a discussion, and I also had mentioned that a lot of cargo which is meant for the eastern hemisphere, starting from say northern India, etc., is going to the western ports and then going round the peninsula and going to the eastern hemisphere. A lot of cargo, especially containers, because there's not much of container handling facility except a small facility in Visakhapatnam. There's not much of a facility on the Andhra Pradesh and even Chennai, like somebody was saying. Their containers are going to Mumbai, JNPT, and then going from there. So we are looking at getting the cargo to Andhra Pradesh. We are making some efforts. So again, anybody in the logistics who are keen to play with us, most welcome. Then one idea is that I would like to thank Madam Bina for acknowledging the role of the maritime boards. In fact, if you remember, ma'am, in the meeting, a similar conference we had on cruise, I think, in Mumbai, this was again a point I had raised. Most of the decisions, most of the policy making, most of the thinking regarding shipping and the maritime activity is being generally, till now, it has been done at Delhi and then handed over as directives and guidelines to the states. But paradoxically, most of our sea is along the states. And given the political scenario, the landscape, handing down a rule or directive from top may not go well with some of the people, some of the states. And therefore, the policy implementation may have some bottlenecks. I therefore request you, Madam Bina, and other officials who are sitting here to think it out and change the paradigm of policy making in the maritime sector, where you involve the maritime boards in a more proactive way, where actually you give the maritime boards also some leeway and some bandwidth to make certain rules for their own states and get into some kind of agreements and arrangements with the neighboring states, which will be guided by you, of course, as a big brother. But instead of directly giving us directives, which may not be well received by some of them, and therefore interaction with the states may not be that good. That's a suggestion I would like to give on the policy sector. Then as I was mentioning, we are looking at cargo aggregation towards the ports of Andhra Pradesh. So the gentleman from Unifeeder, Mr. Muralidharan, I would like to interact with you immediately after this and try to see what all services that we can actually develop together. And any other such operators or any logistic people, like DP World is of course there, we had some interaction with them. Any other national, international operators are there. I would be very glad to interact and take some advice and offers of assistance and association with me back to Andhra Pradesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commander Reddy. Now the honor for being the last speaker goes to a very important participant. I invite Mr. Rahul Modi to speak.
Good evening to all. Respected Beena Madam, Mohandas sir, and my co-speakers, and my shipping fraternity friends. I will not take much time because, as said by my earlier friend, that everyone is waiting for the dinner and between the time. So I will not take much time. When I entered this premises, I was in the confusion that I have to speak as a Pushpak Logistics owner or as a member of a National Shipping Board. But after that, Sudhir has given me the instruction that you have to speak as a National Shipping Board. National Shipping Board is an advisory body to the shipping, and I am heading how to develop the coastal shipping in India under the National Shipping Board. So I will go with 2, 3, 4 points on which I am working, and I will, if any have any questions, they can ask me the questions, and I think that it is a good time to ask our questions to the government officials who are here. So we will not take much time, and we will go with this. Recently, government has given the free for berth hiring charges for the Ro-Ro and Ro-Pax. Same we had requested government for the coastal shippings to give. We are requesting government and requesting this finance department to reduce the GST on the multi-modal, because GST on the multi-modal is the biggest issue to develop the coastal shipping, because coastal shipping is a one kind of the multi-modal. So we are facing this issue. Other than these issues, we had submitted so many reports to the government, GST on bunkers, coastal vessels berthing priority. We have a coastal berthing vessel priority on a paper. It is a fact that it is on the paper, but no port is implementing this seriously, and due to this coastal shipping is affected, because transit time, if our vessel will wait for 2-3 days, naturally it increase our transit time, and we all are facing so much of issues. As a National Shipping Board member, I had submitted the report. In this report, one of my dream project to start short sea shipping in India. Sure, there are the challenges. When I started this coastal, I had started with 2 containers, and last 20 years I am in this trade. I faced so many challenges, but I know that today we are carrying 3 lakh TEUs per annum of the coastal, and I have a confident that we have a potential to reach 1 million TEU mark in the next 5 years. As said by Mr. Lenny, Dil Mange More. Yes, it is a time to Dil Mange More. So there is a huge potential in the coastal, but as said by Praveen ji, we have to think on that, because in the short shipping run, which I learned, because I had advised someone has started the short shipping sea, and we are working on the 4-5 sectors to start the short shipping. Short shipping is the something that our clients, means final clients has to take is the final client has to support the services. Otherwise, these services are not supported. We have a big liners here who are calling between Mundra, Kandla to Cochin, and they have to come ahead. As you said, Praveenji, that there is a transshipment charges you are giving some discount in the transshipment charges for the short sea shipping. They have to give this benefit to the clients direct, not to the forwarders, clients direct. Then only this coastal shipping will work. Government has taken so much of initiatives. In this, we had also suggested to give the discount in the CRC. VRC, there is a discount, but there is no discount in the CRC. One of my report I submitted to government for the coastal cargo complex, which you said that you need some cargo complex, and I am very happy to say that I had discussed 2-3 times with Bina Madam and Tuticorin Port, and Bina Madam had, I think that they floated the tender. They floated the tender for that. I requesting government, you just give 40% discount for the coastal cargo complex. So whatever the issues we are facing to get cargo from Punjab to here, and we have to offload the cargo, we have to stuffing, de-stuffing. So these are the discussion, and we are the advisory body. We are trying our best to advise the government on the coastal container shipping. Basically, my profession is coastal container. So if any have any questions, if any have anything to discuss with government, they can mail me. Sure, as an NSB member, I will take it to the further. Parallelly, as Murli sir had said, that every corporate and PSU has to give their 5-10% of cargo to the coastal shipping. I believe that 5-10% of the coastal mode cargo they have to give as their environmental responsibility. Like a Reliance, I think that Reliance team is there. If they will give 5%, 10% cargo, they will not lose anything. They will give something to our nation. They have a CRC, they are what is spending too much of funds. So if they will come ahead and they said that, okay, we will give this cargo to the coastal, they will lose nothing. Nation will what we said, that nation will get something from them. So it is my request to the PSUs, 100% PSUs to come ahead. This container manufacturing project we had discussed, and this taken as a we don't want to depend on our neighboring countries. This was the project which we had discussed with the higher authorities, and we had taken that we don't want to depend on our neighboring countries. And we had taken a challenge, and Bhavnagar, you will see that in next 1-2 years, Bhavnagar will be the container hub, container manufacturing. Why Bhavnagar? Everyone is asking me why Bhavnagar. Bhavnagar is because there, Alang is there, and government has a plan to make a cotton steel from the scrap, because scrap is coming into the, and the scrap and vehicle scraping yard is coming in Bhavnagar. So Bhavnagar is chosen for that. You will get the raw material there only, but it will take 4-5 months. As I said, challenges are there, but the solutions are there. And I'm a freight forwarder. I have started my career with the freight forwarder. I faced so many challenges. I started with Transworld Group. I started with Murliji, Varduji. Now there is a demand of the coastal. Everyone has to come to the coastal. Yes, challenges are there, but clients has to not like to complain this. I've seen that sometimes if coastal cargo is delayed, clients are deducting the payments. What is the fault? Because we not delay, because of the weather, because of the some issues, it is delay, but you are getting cheaper. Coastal shipping is the cheaper, and in Kerala, I am challenging rail, I am challenging road. Can they give in our rates? No one gave in Kerala in our rates. So it is the necessary need for them. But yes, as said, everyone has to come ahead for the coastal shipping. And adding to this, this source shipping, I have requested that when we are discussing about the source shipping now, you request lines to give you the BL to Mundra to Bepur. Don't, why this coastal shipping is not success, which I understand from my last 1-2 projects, because the containers, as per the lines or as per the freight forwarder, as a customer, it is coming up to Cochin. But if they declare up to Bepur or XYZ port, then it will be workable. Second, as Salim Kumar sir said, yes, there was a scheme, there was a model shift scheme, which would, in 2017, government has decided this scheme, but this scheme is not passed by the cabinet due to revenue, and they had taken this. And the Kerala initiatives, Kerala has given these initiatives, we had taken on this, and first time, I think that first time, the Kerala Maritime Board and Sagarmala has a very good meeting. So I taken lot of efforts for that. Why this Sagarmala is not giving, and I think that Sagarmala has funded some funds to this. So these are the initiatives everyone has to take. Coastal shipping has challenges, but coastal shipping has a potential. Challenges is there, solution we have to find, and we have to work for this potential. Thanks, Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahul. So that brings us to the end of the presentations by the speakers. We are slightly late, but with a panel like this, I would not like to deny you the opportunity to ask questions. So it's open for discussions. If anybody would want to raise any questions or queries, because we may not have time for discussing new ideas and new thoughts, but if there are questions or queries directed at any particular member of this panel, you are welcome.
Good evening. So once again, this is Captain Jacob Thomas. This is for Lieutenant Commander Reddy. Sir, I did the logistics for the US Army for the Afghanistan pullout during the initial Afghanistan pullout. So we loaded the small arms and uniforms into smaller containers. They're called tricons. Okay, three tricons make a 20-foot container. And quadcon, 4 containers make a 20-foot container. So, you know, how to secure them and how to load them, I can tell you that for a small fee. Okay, so, thank you.
Thank you. We will be glad to pay you.
And, sir, Mr. Salim Kumar, sir. Sir, I was an invitee for the PRISM and for the meeting, PRISM meeting, and I have certain concerns which I don't want to discuss here, but please do give me an audience. I can discuss with you outside. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So my name is Sunil Kurian. I am from Mahindra World City Developers. I was keenly listening to all the sessions that were happening today. I just have a question to all of us here. There was a lot of queries related to why or how. So as a customer, as probably a person who would like to ship it on the coastal shipment methodology or through the inland waterways, what I understand as a customer is, why do I not come? Because I don't have conformance to a timeline where I can assure my end customer as to what time he will get the shipment. These are areas where most of us would like to move on the road because they are more reliable. At some point of time, in the earlier eras, the inland waterways were the most, I would say, reliable methods of transportation. But now, the road has become better. We probably need to just think on those lines is what I leave everybody with this August delegation here, whereby there's more enticement towards customers like anybody else wanting to be shipping through the inland waterways because they're definitely safer, it is definitely cheaper, but the time involved and the delays involved are the issues is what I think. I will leave the others to talk about this. Thank you.
Gentlemen, don't think that coastal shipping is a cheaper. You are getting so many benefits of the coastal shippings. As I said, that environmental friendly, eco-friendly. So just I want to discuss on the one front. This is the minus point. Everyone is thinking that coastal shipping is cheaper. But you support, see, when we have started this coastal shipping in the container basically, that time the rate was very high. But when the volume is, everyone has created the volume, when the volumes comes to the one level, automatically all rates are controlled, and now I think that it is a cheaper mode. But first, when you are starting any peer-to-peer or anything, that time customer has to support this type of the service, and surely after some time it will be the cheaper. But on the starting stage, you cannot say that it is just cheap. You will get the cheaper.
And also to add to that, what Mr. Modi said, what you have raised, all the points are generally in the realm of common knowledge with most of the policymakers and also the industry. We all do understand that. However, like the famous saying, chicken or egg kind of a syndrome. So if the demand is there, the service grows up to the demand, and it would like to serve the customer the best. Right. The demand is not coming because the service is not up to the standard. So the twain has to meet somewhere, and the policymakers and the industry and the boards like us, we are seized of the situation and we are working on it slowly. I think it will come to a point where we can, the coastal shipping the ecosystem can give a quality service where the customers will come flocking to it.
Sir, I totally agree with you. I just want to leave it as Mahindras, we were pioneers in developing integrated business cities in the country. So we have started the first ever integrated business city in Mahindra World City, Chennai. So we have a 3,000-acre park in Jaipur, we have one here. It's just a thought for all of us, because I somehow felt that there was a lot of restrictive thinking today. I just want to leave all of us with this. I'm not giving any directives or anything, just want to leave it there.
No, the clarification was not for you, for any of the skeptics in the audience also. That's why.
Any other issues? Yes, Mr. Grover.
Is happening now. There are 2 points which I like to mention. India had facility for manufacturing containers in 98, 99, or earlier than that. Shipping Corporation, I was a general manager in Shipping Corporation of India, and we purchased 5,000, 6,000 containers from Barman Lorry. That time there were 4 companies, Nathani Steel, Barman Lorry, DCM, Hyundai. They all closed down over a period of time because the cost was $2,200 for a 20-footer, $3,100 for a 40-footer. China, the containers were being made at $900. And the whole world, all over the world, the container manufacturing units stopped. So it's a very proactive step taken 1.5 years back when this, the shipping problem started and the container shortage was felt. Just one word, it's a wonderful thing to have these containers coming in. But the things as after the pandemic have started returning to some normalcy. The freight rates which had gone 10 times have come down to about 6-7 times now. And the worldwide number of containers purchased by all the shipping lines has added so much of inventory. There are about 3 to 4 million extra containers in the fleet today. And each container storage abroad is say $4, in India also 10, 20 rupees a day. So what we are going to make here, it's a wonderful thing, beautiful containers are going to be made, but it has to be seen that all these containers get utilized for domestic use, because the foreign, this thing, they may not find it useful because you have to call a duty component. And secondly, they have to be price competent. So this is my only submission. And yeah, go ahead.
In fact, this was a point that the committee actually observed, that after this crisis goes away, will there even be a requirement? In fact, we discussed on that also. But as I mentioned in my talk, we need to containerize the entire cargo system. So the entire bulk has to, maybe small container, maybe big container, but that has to happen. So with that in mind, seeing a big domestic market and with the incentive of the government, maybe we can make this work. That was the thinking.
Fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. One more, so I'll take 1 minute more. Only Sanjeev ji, thanks for your wonderful presentation. And the rail, today, the whole logistics is skewed because road is about 60%, rail is about 30%. So I'm talking about the containers. And coastal shipping is hardly 6 to 7%. But with the dedicated freight corridor coming in, this whole thing is likely to change by 2023-24. Because what is happening is one important thing everyone's got to know. Today the trains are 750 meters long. They carry 90 containers. Going forward, all the trains are going to be 1.5 kilometers long. So they're going to carry 180 containers. Now 180, this is now 90 single tier. There'll be 180 double tier, so that's going to be 360 containers. So 4 times multiplier effect has come. The other multiplier effect is that today they all share a common rail, with the passenger trains where 60, 70 odd trains are going. From Pipavav, Mundra and JNPT, about 20 container trains are going. Now with time used to be 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours. Mundra, the time was 50 hours. It's already come down to 24 hours. So this 8 times multiplier effect, when the economies of scale, the rail freight has got to come down, and which will have an impact that the road movement will definitely get impacted. And it's a costing that will matter at that point of time. Sir, one small answer to your point was that apart from that, my colleague mentioned that you have 20-foot containers. There are plenty of players in this room itself, like my friend Lini and Team Global and all these. they also have, apart from a full container load, there's a concept for the global shipping is LCL, less than container load, where the aggregators, they collect the cargo, they stuff in a 20-foot container. There could be 20 shippers and 20 consignees or 40 consignees, doesn't matter. So they book cubic stake wise, and there's facilities available, and that should also come for the coastal shipping. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to add that Concur has procuring 10-feet containers also. Now in the new orders, Concur has order for the 10-feet containers. So every month you can get 10 to 40-feet containers.
Sir, may
Just a
There's a question,
just
please.
to add to what you've said, now the Indian Railways are also running in the domestic sector what are called dwarf containers. So dwarf containers are something that under wire, that is electric traction, you could run only one. Now these dwarf containers, 2 of them can be run, and we have further gone ahead and we have raised the height of the OHE, that is electric wire under electric traction. So the dedicated freight corridor, the Western DFC, has higher level OHE, and the existing ISO containers can run double stack, as you pointed out. In fact, Pipavav port is currently the only port in the entire world which is connected to high-rise OHE, and we are running double stack containers under electric wire, that is electric traction, and we are the only port in the entire world currently. Of course, subsequently many more ports will come who will be connected to electric traction and would be able to run double stack container trains. Otherwise, double stack container trains can run only under diesel traction as of now. And of course, the dwarf containers, they can run 3 stack under high-rise OHE and 2 stack under normal OHE. So that is being run for domestic sector, and Reliance Jamnagar is extensively using this facility for transporting its products. And basic idea is, I think, for which all of us we have to reduce the unit cost of transportation. This is the buzzword. If we can reduce the unit cost of transportation, everything else is taken care of. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. The last question from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Coming back to the containers that are being brought to the country, and then the domestication amounts to duty element involved with that. There are a lot of containers, cryogenic containers were allowed to be brought into the country, and a general exemption was granted because of oxygen had to be supplied. Now there are substantial number of containers that come into the country. Now they are all stuck now. So it was an emergency. Nobody thought of a commercial aspect. Now the containers have come in. They cannot be used the way it was needed then. So how do we deal with the situation? Now that has to be dealt with by the government only. So either the relaxation has to be given, but now no action is being taken so far. The generally containers are allowed to be brought in only maximum of 12 months. Now it's much beyond 12 months. But now we look forward to some kind of decision, madam. I'm sure you, as a member of the board, you can raise this. And many countries do not have these provisions at all. So we have to fall in line with the practices prevailing around the globe sooner or later. That's my request, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. The very last question from here. Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's not a question actually, it's something absurd idea which came to my mind. He said, let's not restrict ourselves. So I'm not restricting my mind, I'm sharing. For the last 70 years, we have developed railways, we have developed roads, we have made golden triangles, specifically focusing on these 2 sectors. We are organically developing the coastal, right? But we are not inorganically developing it. We are not finding ways and means how we can make navigational, canals, whereby we connect the important areas wherever, those thought process, where definitely we are investing in the road infrastructure, rail, or we have done it. Why don't we develop, invest on this kind of infrastructure? Maybe in the next 50 years, we will have those navigational systems in all over India, whereby this trade will become definitely viable because we will have those kind of canals. This is just an absurd thought, which I thought maybe in the national policy, it should be taken up in the step-by-step measures. Thank you.
Thank you. So while closing the discussion, I would like to thank again the members of this panel because each one of them has added a lot of value to today's deliberations. Thank you very much. Deepa, you can take over.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the panel, for having such an engaging conversation. Some really thought-provoking ideas. And thank you for being so interactive. I know there are a lot of other questions that you have to ask. But of course, dinner is waiting, and you can always ask those questions over dinner as well. I'm sure most of them will be available. All right? So on that note, we come to the end of this great evening. But before that, before we wind up, and there's a lot more things to be done before we actually wind up, I'd like to invite Shri K. Mohandas sir to kindly come forward and hand over a token of our gratitude, a memento, to each of our panelists here. So may I please request you to kindly come forward. May I invite Lieutenant Commander B.M. Ravindranath Reddy sir to kindly come forward and accept the memento on our behalf. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Sanjeev Garg to kindly come forward. Thank you so much, sir. Now may I request Dr. M. Beena IAS, ma'am, kindly come forward. Thank you so much. May I request Mr. Rahul Modi to kindly come forward and accept the memento. Thank you so much, Mr. Rahul Modi. Mr. T.P. Salim Kumar, may I request you to kindly step forward. May I request Mr. Arvind Chaudhary to kindly come forward and accept the memento. Great. Thank you so much, and may I request you all of you to kindly come forward and, pose for a photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a loud round of applause. Those were the members of the plenary session. Thank you so much. May I kindly request you to take your seats. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with this, today's debate, discussions, deliberations, everything, brainstorming, and all of that ends here. As usual, India Sea Trade will compile and submit the recommendations that has come up here today to the government and its related departments to consider them and provide a direction for the appropriate change and enhancement in policy. One that will drive and sustain the country's and states' maritime growth. Let's hope for the best. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. K. Mohandas to kindly stay back, sir. And this is to felicitate our esteemed sponsors. Without them, none of this would have been possible. So I'd request Shri K. Mohandas, sir, to hand over a memento to each of the sponsors. May I request all the sponsors to kindly stay back and do not proceed outside the hall. We're about to call your names, and we don't want to be waiting for you to come into the hall once you're outside. So please be seated in the hall. All right. Hearty thanks to all the esteemed sponsors for the support extended to this business summit. We would like to call upon stage the representative from each sponsor I'm calling out the name. May I request you to kindly come forward. First and foremost, thank you so much, CG Dassel Logistics Limited. May I request the representative from CG Dassel Logistics Limited to kindly come forward on stage and receive our memento. Thank you so much for all your support, sir. That is CJ Dassel Logistics Limited. Thank you so much. Pushpak Logistics Solutions. Pushpak Logistics Solutions. That's Mr. Rahul Modi on stage. Thank you so much. The next sponsor who supported us, 7 Seas Global Logistics Solutions. Mr. Biju on stage. Thank you so much for all your support. 7 Seas Global Logistics Solutions. Adani Ports and Says Limited. Thank you so much, Adani Ports and Says Limited. The next sponsor, DP World. Thank you so much, DP World. Thank you for all your support. The next sponsor, Deen Dayal Port Authority. Port Authority. I'm actually glad to see someone with the mask there, because I hardly saw anyone today. Well, thank you so much, Deen Dayal Port Authority, for all your support. Cochin Shipyard. May I request the representative from Cochin Shipyard Limited to kindly step forward? Thank you for all the support, sir. Sriji Coastal Shipping Private Limited. May I request the representative from VOC Port Authority to kindly come forward. VOC Port Authority. Thank you so much, sir, for all the support. Costero Shipping and Logistics. Costero for all your support. Standard Multimodal Logistics. Standard Multimodal Logistics. Thank you for all your support, Standard Multimodal Logistics. Our next well-wisher, sponsor, Karanja Terminal and Logistics. Thank you so much for all your support. Next, APPL Containers Private Limited. APPL Containers Private Limited. much for all your support, APPL Containers. Abrao Group. Our next sponsor, Abrao Group. Thank you for all the support, Abrao Group. JM Baxi. JM Baxi. Thank you for all the support, JM Baxi Group. Team Global Logistics. Team Global Logistics, thank you so much for all your support. And now I'd like to invite our sponsor, Bharat Chemicals. And about Bharat Chemicals, there is something pleasant that we'd like to share with you. As we speak today, at this moment, on this eve, they're completing 20 years in bunkering operations and services to trade. So that's a special occasion for them, and we're so happy to have you with us on this special occasion. Theirs is a success story of a sustainable and competitive growth, focusing on reliability in the past 2 decades. And I'm so happy that we are sharing this moment with them as they complete 20 years in the industry. Bharat Chemicals, thank you so much for all your support. Coral Shipping Services. Coral Shipping Services. Coral Shipping Services. Do we have the representative from Coral Shipping Services here? Yes? Yes. Okay, I guess he's stuck there in the crowd. Can the gentleman please give them way? Thank you so much. You can Thank you so much, Coral Shipping Services. The next sponsor we'd like to invite on stage, Global Logistics Solutions. Global Logistics Solutions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The next sponsor, TCI Seaways. TCI Seaways. Thank you so much, TCI Seaways, for all your support. The next sponsor on stage, Greeks Shipping. Greeks Shipping. Greeks Shipping. Do we have the representative from Greeks Shipping here? No? All right. Thank you for your support, Greeks Shipping. Next, Chakyard Agencies. Chakyard Agencies. Thank you so much, Chakyard Agencies, for your support, and we look forward to your continued support. And next, I'd like to invite Lots Shipping Limited. Lots Shipping Limited. Kindly come forward. Thank you so much, Lots Shipping Limited, for all your support. We look forward to your continued support in future. Thank you. Shri Shipping Services. Shri Shipping Services. May I request the representative from Shri Shipping Services to kindly come forward? Yes. Okay, next I'd like to invite Ocean Whale Shipping Services. Kustin Logistics. May I request Kustin Logistics representative to kindly come forward? Yes, there he walks up on stage. Thank you, Kustin Logistics, for all your support. C-Tech Shipping and Projects. C-Tech Shipping and Projects. Thank you so much, C-Tech Shipping and Projects, for your support. MSA Shipping. May I request the representative from MSA Shipping to kindly come forward? Thank you. Thank you, MSA Shipping. The next sponsor I'd like to call is Shri Vaibhav Logistics. Shri Vaibhav Logistics. May I request the representative from Shri Vaibhav Logistics to kindly come on stage? Yes, I can see the gentleman walking. Shri Vaibhav Logistics. The next sponsor, First Choice Shipping and Logistics. First Choice Shipping and Logistics. So much, First Choice Shipping and Logistics. Thank you very much, all sponsors, and thank you, dear Mohandas sir, for doing the honors. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, am I speaking to empty chairs? I hope not. With this, the 9th edition of the Coastal Shipping and IWT Business Summit 2022 draws to a close. We will return, ladies and gentlemen, with such business summits to address, debate issues pertaining to our industry, and we hope to see you all with your active participation there as well. Before summing up, ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? Before summing up, India's Sea Trade is delighted to announce the 3rd edition of the Cargo Connections Conclave 2022 in Mangalore on 4th of November 2022 at the Ocean Pearl, Mangaluru, Karnataka, and the 3rd edition of the Multimodal Logistics Summit in Gandhidham on 3rd February 2023. So ladies and gentlemen, requesting all of you to block your date and do participate and continue to give us all the support that you've been doing. Thank you everyone, have a wonderful evening, and wishing you all a very happy Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Thank you so much. This is Deepa Rahul signing off.